Hello guys and welcome back to Code Realize. We're starting chapter 12 with Grandest Dream. If you hear lightning and thundering, well if you hear thundering in the background, I apologize, but there's a really bad storm outside and I hope it doesn't cut out my power, so we'll find out. It's time to go down another chapter of MPs. I think it's the Swedish chapter, but I don't remember, so we'll see what happens in this one. By sweetest, I mean like most romantic. His ending's pretty good too, so I can't wait to read his ending to you guys. It's been 2 days since the battle in the skies above London when the British airborne knights suffered a brutal defeat. Ooh, dang. Victoria apologized to her entire nation, stating that she had underestimated the power of the Nautilus. She also published a statement in every newspaper saying that she would bring down the Nautilus no matter what its cost. Furthermore, she announced an evacuation advisory to the citizens of London in order to minimize damage from any later battles. As for Twilight, with their possible connection with Nautilus, just as investigations began, its members are reportedly disappeared without a trace. Organization compromised of elite agents was able to eliminate all records of themselves to make themselves untrackable. Oh my goodness. Victoria is extremely angry at this fact, but it seems she has decided to prioritize the upcoming battle with the Nautilus. However, after the initial battle, the Nautilus disappeared completely. How do you lose it? How do you lose a battleship? Victoria is currently using her troops to pinpoint its location. We are given a task as well. As the people who are most knowledgeable about Nemo, we are staying in the palace. We have been assisting in devising an operation to bring the Nautilus down. Tomorrow I will present myself on the stage of battle as a decoy. Victor and Saint Germain have agreed to be my guards. Lupin, Van Helsing, and MP will need to sneak on board the Nautilus somehow and destroy it from within. As everyone busies themselves in planning and preparing for the mission, I notice that I haven't seen MP around. I try not to think about it too much at first, but I keep catching myself looking for MP. I keep searching for him, and at one point I find myself outside the palace. The night breeze is a bit chilly on my skin and the moon's light is clear as always. As I look around, I see MP leaving the palace on his own. Oh, MP, wait. I call out to him and he turns around and smiles at me.
あれどうしたの俺の姿が見えなくなって心細くなっちゃったとか
How did you guess? Not exactly, whatever. He's hit the nail on the head and my voice becomes quieter. Anyway, what are you doing? Or going? Where are you going? MP is the only person who knows the Nautilus and understands the details of how it stays afloat. Afloat? Is that what I said? Loft? Okay. He's crucial to the mission's planning. Aren't they having a meeting right now? Don't you need to be there?
ちょっと煮詰まってるからさ頭冷やしたくてああもちろんみんなには許可取ってるよ
I see.
そういうわけでちょっと散歩でもしてくるよまた後でね
You don't even offer her to go? That seems a little strange. MP waves to me and starts walking, and I automatically walk after him. Do you mind if I come with you? He stops when I call out to him.
そりゃ構わないけどあんま楽しいとこじゃないよ
It's okay, she just wants to be with you. That's fine, it's just when I'm alone, I start thinking about things that aren't important. I want to go with you. But if you'd rather be alone.
そんなわけないっしょ一人より二人の方が散歩は楽しいしそれが愛する君ならなおさらってね
My beloved. For a while, MP and I walk through the city together. There is no one in the streets. Everyone has been evacuated. Tonight, with Nemo's deadline approaching, tomorrow, the only ones remaining in the city are with the military or us. Since the evacuation happened so suddenly, the lights in many buildings have been left on. The only sound I hear is our own footsteps. I feel Impey's presence more strongly and closely than usual. Soon, Impey stops in the middle of a rubble-filled street and stands there in a daze. This is where the Nautilus bombed.
はあ、でもな、俺の発明品が残していった爪痕だね。
I listen to Impey as I look around us. The only thing that the cold light of the moon shows us are crumbling buildings and charred walls. All I see are slightly sinister things like these. Even the breeze carries with it an unpleasant scent of burnt things.
犠牲者の遺体は違う場所に安置されたって話だね。
Impey suddenly breaks the silence. His expression looks hazy.
ここもこんな状態だし、遺体もひどいものが多いらしくて、なかなか引き取り手もないらしいよ。
Aw, that's so sad.
放っておいて感染症が流行るといけないからって、全員まとめて埋葬されるんだって。
Impey's voice sounds like he is speaking from a distant place. Then Impey stares up at the ruined skyline. What's the matter, Impey? I start to feel uneasy as I watch Impey standing in silence. Impey laughs a little with a hit of self-depreciation.
なんていうかさ、俺がネモに会いに行くなんて言い出さなきゃ、多分こんなことにはなってないんだよなって。
It's not your fault.
カルディアちゃん、君だって命の危険にさらされることはなかった。謝ってもどうしようもないことだけどさ、なんかごめん。
Oh, he's so sad. Are you apologizing to me or to the victims?
うん、どっちもだよ。
Impey says this in a daze. Then, at the very least, you don't have to apologize to me. I take full responsibility for my own actions. You did nothing wrong. And none of us could have imagined this outcome. We need to look ahead instead of regretting the past and deal with this. Impey looks at me as he gently strokes my hair. Just a simple act like this makes me stiffen up, and I can feel my cheeks getting hot. What?
君は偉いなって思っただけ。慰めてくれてありがとう。そうだよね。後悔してる場合じゃない。
Impey looks at me and smiles. But his smile looks forced to me for some reason. This makes me sad.
こういう時って悲しんだらいいのか怒ったらいいのかわかんなくなるね。
Are you angry at Nemo for what he's done?
そりゃ俺の発明品でこんなことされて悔しいとも思うし止めなきゃとも思うよ。けどなんかあんまり憎む気にもなれない。ひたすら俺があんなことしなきゃよかったなって思うばっかでさ。
Impey's smile is troubled. Nemo used your invention to kill a number of people. You have every right to be mad. No, you should be mad. Impey tells me that he thinks the same thing, then scratches his cheeks.
あ、そうだ。話は変わるんだけどさ。実はさ、俺ドラちゃんにはとっくに俺が吸血鬼だってバレてんだよね。
Is it like a vampire sense? They just know their own kind. Really? The sudden change is subject, and this unexpected revelation catches me off guard. Impey nods.
あれはまだドラちゃんが屋敷に来たばかりの頃だったかな。ドラちゃんがさ、俺の身体能力の高さを見て、お前吸血鬼だろって言ってきたんだよ。
The slight breeze blows through Impey's hair. Beneath the moonlight, Impey looks like he might fade away. I wonder why.
こっそりさ、一緒に復讐をなそうって言われた。 一族の仇を取ろうって。
Vengeance, he's talking about the vampire war 2 years ago. The British army almost completely wiped out the vampires. Van Helsing was part of the campaign, and I heard that he killed Deli's parents.
お前も家族や親しい人たちを殺されただろう。いつか生き残りの吸血鬼たちを集めて人間たちを根絶やしにしてやろうってさ。
Wipe out humanity. That's a large number of people. He really said that? When I first met Deli, his curses against Van Helsing are still fresh in my memory.
本当に最初の頃ね。今じゃめっきりそんなことも言わなくなった。表情もちょっと優しくなった気がしない？きっとドラちゃんもいろいろ考えてるところはあるんだろうね。
I look at Impey once again. He is a vampire who survived the war. It wouldn't be strange at all if he harbored a deep-seated anger towards humans just like Deli.
復讐しようって言われたとき、俺断ったんだけどさ。もうドラちゃん、怒る怒る。2、3発本気で殴られたよ。あれは効いたな。死ぬかと思ったよ。
Thought he might die. Why? Impey looks at me puzzled. I heard that so many vampires were killed. Shouldn't you be angry that so many of your friends were murdered?
同じことをドラちゃんにも言われたよ。どうしてもさ、やりたいことがあるってその時は言ったし、今でもそう思ってるんだ。
What did you want to do?
そう。ドラちゃんがやりたいことってなんだって言ったからさ、答えたらもう一発殴られた。ふざけるなってさ。
Still wants to go to the moon, probably. So what is it you want?
なあ、ほら、俺が割と日常的に言ってるやつだよ。
Impey points up at the night sky.
好きに行きたい。
It seems like such a bizarre reason to decline an invitation to take revenge, but I can sort of understand why Deli would get mad.
ドラちゃんのやろうとしてることを否定しようなんてつもりはないけど。でも俺は月に行くこと以外は割とどうでもいいのかなって。
You want to go there that much? Impey smiles and nods. His eyes looking straight ahead don't look like he's joking at all. Why do you feel that strongly about it? His eyes draw me in so strongly that I can't help but ask about it. Why are you going to such great lengths to take back your gravity alleviator? Why are you here at all? I want to know so much more about you.
そっか。愛する君にそこまで言われたら話さないわけにはいかないよね。その代わりさ、君も俺の言うことを一つだけ聞く。どう？そんな条件。
Be careful what you agree to. He was willing to take off his clothes in the Nautilus. So, alright, if you tell me about your past, I'll do whatever you say. That's the wrong answer.
お、あっさりうなずくね。
Although his thoughts are a lot more pure now than they were in the Nautilus. Is that bad?
ダメだね。カルディアちゃん。君はもっと警戒心を持たないと。男はみんな狼なんだよ。
Even he admits it. You're not a wolf, you're a vampire.
実は狼男かもしれないよ。
That's funny, she took that literally. I can't get myself from giggling at Impey's joke. Not that I'm not cautious, I just let my guard down because it's you. I know you'd never do anything to hurt me. Impey stares at me and I stare back. Our gazes are entwined, then Impey smiles. The smile is much more mature than what I'm used to seeing on him.
聞いても多分面白くないよ。
I'm sure I'll find anything you want to tell me about interesting. Impey smiles grimly.
そういうことなら 話しますかね。昔の話。
Impey sits down on a large pile of rubble and begins talking. He speaks of his past matter-of-factly in a sort of gentle yet slightly melancholic tone. It is a very long and very sad story. It goes way back when I was a kid. My parents died when I was little, and I guess my parents didn't really have a good relationship with the people around us. I was treated pretty much like a nuisance. I was passed around to a number of different relatives, but none of them ended up taking me in. In the end, I built myself a shack outside the village and managed to get by on my own. I don't blame them. I was always a pretty gloomy kid. You'd probably be super put off if you saw how I used to be. The story continues. I mean, the people of the village did have some sympathy towards me. They did leave the minimum amount of food to survive, and I developed skills to feed myself so life wasn't too tough. The forest around the village was rich in resources, and once I got the hang of hunting and gathering, I had no trouble finding food. But I was always alone. I didn't have any outside interests, didn't have any friends, and my parents were dead. I spent those days in a daze. My memories of those times are pretty hazy. I didn't talk much either, so when I did try from time to time, my voice didn't always work. That's pretty much all I remember. Oh, but there was one thing I liked. The moon. I loved the moon. When I looked at it, I could feel cooling and soothing of my emotions. I would just stare at the moon whenever it was out, never tiring of the sight. One day I saw some kids running by the shack. I heard them saying something about going to see a monster that the humans had created. Apparently, it's all anyone was talking about in the village.
あれこの話前にしたっけ
Impy's question brings me back to reality and I nod. He followed the other kids and saw a locomotive. Impy nods.
そうだったんだよ。
He asked me if I want to hear the same story again and I say yes. It wasn't that I wanted to hear more about the locomotive once more. I wanted to watch him talk about it when he got that sparkle in his eyes. Oh. Impy recounts everything in detail. Seeing the railroad tracks for the first time, the sound of the steam whistle, the black smoke shooting out, the big black block of steel chugging along powerfully. Impy tells me about his senses of awe. That enormous mass of steel passed right by me without slowing down, and its steam whistle blew away whatever dark, murky thing had been in my heart. And in its place, I felt like there was some kind of weird flame lit within me. It changed my world. I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. That's really how it went. Wow, 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 that's all I could say, and I went back to my shack. That's when I decided I would somehow make that thing I saw with my own hands. But I had no idea how to put it together. To begin with, I carved some stone and put something that looked like the locomotive on top of an uneven handmade rails. I would look at it and wonder, how could that thing move on its own? How does it work? Every day I would think about these things while I watched the locomotive from the shadows. Then I forgot what it was. There was one other oddball in the village, an eccentric old man. He was always talking about some crazy thing or another, so no one in the village would bother to listen to him. He was the other nuisance of the village, always mumbling something strange to himself. I was also guilty of thinking he was weird, like, whoa, I'd better not get involved with this guy. And then, one day, the old man, he was staring intently at the model I'd made. And I thought, uh-oh, this isn't good, there's no telling what he'll do. And I hastily tried to cover up my model. But he didn't touch it. Instead, he turned to me and said,
小僧、俺は機関車だろ?
It was a pretty big shock. I never found out what the name of the thing I was trying to make was until now. But once I heard the word, I couldn't get over how cool it sounded. Then, as I stood there in excitement, the old man said, I guess he's not going to talk. This model isn't going to run. It doesn't have an axis to convey power to the wheels, and it doesn't even have an engine.
わしが作り方を教えてやろうか。
Why is some of this voice acted and the rest not? That's what the old man said to me. I mean, how could I say no to that? I jumped at the chance without a second thought. I asked him to please tell me whatever he knew. And from that day on, the old man taught me all about the different machines humans make. In the beginning, we made a model steam locomotive. We built it out of handmade parts, and other parts we stealthily bought from the humans' city. Stealthily? Why do you have to buy things stealthily? Maybe they're stealing things. I don't know. When I saw the tiny locomotive move, I felt a shock, like I had been struck by lightning. Nothing has ever compared to the excitement I felt when I saw that thing move for the first time. The machine I made with my own hands was moving on its own, puffing smoke. I couldn't think of anything better. That's when I swore to myself that I would become an engineer. I realized that this was it for me. This was how I wanted to live. The old man taught me lots of techniques and knowledge as he told me about himself. He and I were similar in that the traditional way of vampire life wasn't for us. He's a vampire too. Taking a breath of science for vampires, he had been going in and out of the humans' city since he was young. He said his dream was to give the vampires a scientific foothold on par with the humans. Even though he was an old man, when he talked about it, his eyes would sparkle like a child's. But nobody understood what he was trying to do. And before he knew it, he had given up on everything. He looked so sad and tired. I told him to cheer up because I understood him. Then, for some reason, the old man started cracking up. He laughed and laughed. He laughed so hard that he had tears in his eyes. Then he told me about a really important plan. He said that it was a special project and that he never told anyone about it before. Vampires had always considered human technology to be the devil's work and distanced themselves from it. But he wanted to prove them wrong. He wanted to show everyone how wonderful science could be. He spoke with such passion. I asked him how he planned to prove it, and he laughed and pointed up to the sky. He said he was going to go to the moon. If he accomplished this impossible task, then everyone would understand how marvelous science could be. Even I was skeptical at the time. Whoa there, you must be dreaming. There's no way you'll ever make it there. The old man laughed. Science makes the impossible possible. It's the hopes and dreams of all people. It's even possible to reach the moon. He said he couldn't explain it too well, but he had the best smile ever. And I guess that rubbed off on me because before I knew it, I was saying that I would reach the moon myself. The old man smiled and patted me on the head. For the first time after that, our days were like that.
そうさ。楽しい日々だった。
Yay, monologue's over. Aww, cute little MP on a steam engine. Or it's a cannon. Might be a cannon. It says Cannon Club on it. That's so cute. I wonder how many years ago it was. We built a small cannon as a prototype for our moon voyage. We calculated the velocity needed to escape Earth's gravity and the amount of gunpowder that it would take. I'm gonna cannon themselves to the moon. That would kill you. I guess you could call it our first experiment. He wrote some words on the side of the cannon. The old man looked over and asked what the heck it was, so I said to him, "This is the first step towards our dream, right?" That's why I told him I should write the name of the development team on it. That's cute. He rolled his eyes and asked me when he became a development team. I puffed out my chest that, as of right now, we were a team. The Cannon Club. We're going to use a cannon to go to the moon, so what better name is there? The team was made up of the old man and me. He laughed and asked me if I couldn't come up with something more creative than that. He said it was so damn childish. How mean. I stayed up all night to come up with it. I mean, he's like 12, so I mean, give him a break. Yeah, still, it seemed like the old man started to get attached to the name, the Cannon Club, after all. And of course, the test craft we shot out of the cannon fell without ever reaching the moon. So after we retrieved it, we debated over what we should do next. That was a lot of fun. Then the old man told me something out of the blue. He said that his life wasn't too exciting, but I guess it hasn't been too bad since I met you and stuff like that. I got a little embarrassed and said, "Stop talking like your life's coming to an end or something." Maybe he was feeling some sort of premonition about it. Actually, didn't last too much longer, I guess. Impey sighs slightly and looks at me.
まあそんなわけで俺は月を目指してるってわけよ。
Wow, that's a wonderful dream.
そう言ってもらえると嬉しいな。月に行くって言うとさ、大抵何言ってんだこいつって目で見られるから。
It's because there's no context behind it and there's no story behind it. It's just people say they want to go to the moon, and yeah, it's not something you could just like walk out and go do. What's the old man doing now? The question just seems like a natural progression in the conversation to me, but Impey falls silent. He looks at the moon with sad, distant eyes. Seeing him this way, my mind leaps to the obvious question. It can't be.
まあそのまさかかな。戦争に巻き込まれて死んじゃったよ。
Oh, see, that would give me one reason to go get revenge. Your like father figure was killed. I'm at a loss for words and don't know what to say to him. To Impey, the old man was probably closer to him than his own family had been, and he was suddenly taken away. I'm sure Impey was just as heartbroken as Deli, whose parents had been killed, and the shock must have been great. But Impey just keeps wearing that same sad expression.
どんな理由で戦争が始まったとか、今となってはどうでもいいんだけどさ。最初は吸血鬼有利で進んでいた戦いも、ある日突然優劣がガラッと変わっちゃったんだよ。
Yep.
そのきっかけが政府軍の毒ガス兵器でさ。もう子供だろうが女だろうが使われたが最後苦しんで死ぬしかないって代物でさ。
I was gonna say poison gas, but then I wasn't sure if anyone knew yet or not, so I didn't want to say anything.
うちの集落も少し離れたところにいた俺と一部の連中を残してほぼ全滅した。じいさんもその時に亡くなった。別れってあっけないなって思った。
His voice sounds like it's wavering. It makes me sad. I'm sorry,
ああ、いやいや、こっちこそ別に暗い話をするつもりじゃなかったんだけどね。どうしようか。まだ一応話の続きはあるけど、聞く？
If you don't mind, I like to hear everything. He nods and continues talking. No, I don't want to read it anymore. It was monologue. Why can't you read it, Impey? That day, the day the old man died, I was supposed to be working on an experiment with him. We were prototyping an extremely small model of the gravity alleviator. What do you mean? Why am I talking about that all of a sudden? Don't you remember, we've been trying to get to the moon using a cannon, right? But when a cannon goes off with enough force to send something to the moon, the payload has to withstand an immense impact. The force is so great that the initial acceleration would squash anyone riding inside the capsule flat. Yep. So what do? We just need to give it the most gentle initial push that we can. But if there isn't enough velocity, it won't break Earth's gravity and we won't reach the moon. That was our dilemma. The old man had a plan though. We just needed to make the capsule being fired. We just needed to make the capsule being fired out as light as possible. That way we could use minimal force but still reach at a high speed. It took the old man a lifetime to conceive the concept of the gravity alleviator. The logic behind it is pretty amazing. Everything has two sides. Like light and shadow or north and south poles of a magnet. The same goes for the gravitational force that keeps us on this planet. There's an opposing force to gravity and the force that essentially pulls matter together. The old man discovered something he called a repulsive force that pushes matter apart. By generating repulsive force, you can negate gravity and bring an object weight down to nearly zero. The old man went and made this astounding device that made this force. It was like his life's work, a masterpiece. He showed me its interior workings and lectured me about it, but it all went right over my head. All I knew was that this was an amazing achievement in technology. When he told me that he wanted me to join him in an experiment to actually test the device, I got chills. The experiment would only involve lifting a tiny little rock since the device required a huge amount of power. Hey, it might not be coming across that way, but this was probably the biggest scientific breakthrough of the century. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep the night before. We didn't know what was going to happen, so we decided to do it someplace far away from the village. But the old man never showed up. I remember thinking, that old geezer, he's always on my case about being on time, as I headed back to the village. That's when I saw the British airship flying through the air above the trees. I had a bad feeling about it. Maybe they dropped a bomb or something. When I got to the village, it was worse than I could have imagined. Everyone I found, without exception, was on the ground, dead. It must have been excruciating. Their faces had the most hideous expressions. So did he live in a village of vampires then? That's what I'm guessing. And maybe, for some reason in my mind, I automatically thought like village of humans. And he was like an outcast, but there was no trace of a bombing or any kind of fight. I realized that it must have been poison gas that did this to them. I really should have left the moment I figured that out, but I wasn't thinking straight. Before I knew it, I was running for the old man's house, and well, as expected, I found him dead. He left some sort of note. He wrote a message for me in a shaky hand. I'll be waiting for you on the moon. Show them all that the dreams can come true. That's what he wrote. Oh, but he wants to go to the moon. He wants to be with his father and show everyone that science is good. The gravity alleviator was placed next to it. That's all the message said, but it was enough for me. The few remaining survivors and I dug many graves and gave everyone proper burials. The other survivors from the village had nothing but hate for the humans. They hated science for bringing about such a terrible poison. Everyone started talking about revenge. Someone else mentioned that the leader of our people, King Dracula, was going to start a final counterattack. They started talking about joining them, but I didn't go. They called me a coward and a traitor. I guess it was pretty cold-hearted of me, but I just didn't feel any sort of anger in my heart. I was sad, and that was it. Science is something the old man and I had been striving and working to further had caused something like this. I didn't think it was right. I left my village and went around to many other cities. I wanted to find out what was happening, and I think about what avenue of science I wanted to pursue. A gentle breeze blows by and Impey's long hair ruffles in the wind. He looks up at the moon once more, his profile determined yet always sad.
だから俺は心に決めたんだ。
Impey's voice is low.
科学は戦う力じゃないんだって。科学ってのは希望で、夢で、光でなくちゃいけない。だから俺はじいさんの意志を継いで月に行く。月に行って世界中のみんなに見せてやるんだ。狭い世界で何をドンパチしてんだよって。他にやることいっぱいあるだろうって。俺たちが本気出したら月にだって行けるのに。殺し合って憎しみ合って大切なもんを奪い合って恨んでずっとそんなこと繰り返しててさ、そんなことやってる場合かよって俺は叫びたいんだ。
Impey's fists are shaking slightly.
もっと面白くてすごくて役に立つことがいくらでもあるんだって。それを伝えるために俺は月へ行きたいんだ。
Ah, I understand it now. Impy isn't bad at all. Even if his entire race was wiped out, even if the old man who gave him guidance was killed, there isn't a modicum of anger in him. He's just so sad. The world keeps going down the wrong path. The right, just forces are always so weak and are stepped on by the wrong forces until they vanish. This world can't seem to wipe its hate away, and I see why that would make him sad. The words pour out from me naturally. You're probably the kindest person in the world. You're not running at all. You've been fighting all this time. You've been fighting alone in the most difficult battle there is in the world. I may be a fake. I may be just a doll, but I may not be worthy of you, but I still want to fight with you. I want to live alongside you. Oh, it's so cute. Impy seems surprised to hear me say this.
そんな今更すぎでしょ。俺にふさわしくないとか。そもそもどうして君が決めちゃうのよ。
You don't get to decide that. I do.
俺、何度も愛してるって君に言ってるじゃないの。
But you just seem like the type who would say that to lots of people. You even told Lupin you loved him when we escaped from the Nautilus, so I figured it was the same for me. That saying I love you was a joke or something. Aww. She doesn't think it's real. You have to prove it to her. And if he hears this, his eyes grow wide. Did I say something strange? I became embarrassed and looked down. Don't laugh at me.
いや、だってごめん、ちょっと待って。
I'm being serious, you know.
いや、だってまさかルパンに嫉妬してるなんて思わなかったからさ。驚いた。
Jealous of Lupin. I don't think she's jealous. Your words have no value when you share them with everyone.
そもそもあいつ男だよ。
Yeah, so. If that's important to you, I'm not even a living thing. Impy gently raises his index finger in front of my eyes.
なるほど。わかった。よくわかったよ。カルディアちゃん。
Show with actions, not words. What are you talking about?
君が心から笑えない理由。
Huh? Impy looks straight at me.
俺今からちょっと真面目なこと言うから。ちゃんと聞いてくれるかな。
Make sure you listen well. I slowly nod in return, sensing the strong determination in his expression.
俺さ、あの地下施設で君の正体を知ったとき、すごく驚いた。ホムンクルスだなんて想像もつかなかった。それからネモの魂がないって話もやっぱり驚いた。そんなのありえるのかなって。
Maybe it looks as if he's struggling to find the right words for what he's thinking. What else is he going to say to me? That's all I care about, but I'm scared. I remain frightened as he talks. But
俺さ、すげえと思ったんだ。
of course you would think it's amazing because it's another form of science. There's a living person here that was created. Not created the natural way.
科学ってのは人の夢や希望で、君は言うなれば科学の子。だから君はさ、純度 100% 人の夢と希望でできてるんだ。
100% pure hopes and dreams. That's so sweet. I'm made of dreams.
そうだよ。この世の奇跡。とんでもなく綺麗な人の夢の結晶。
A breathtakingly beautiful embodiment of dreams. He definitely has a way with words sometimes. I'm awestruck at Impey's words. But you saw all the bodies floating in the glass tubes. I can't think of them as hopes and dreams.
いや、間違いなく夢と希望さ。あんなところから生まれた君がこれほど綺麗で、まるで奇跡みたいにまっすぐ正しく生きてる。それはね、カルディアちゃん、俺にとっても希望なんだ。科学は君みたいな奇跡に巡り合わせてくれる。何度も俺に夢を見せてくれる。美しい夢なんだって信じられる。
But I don't have any emotion.
ある。
I know, you do. Otherwise you wouldn't get embarrassed. Impey's energetic shout erupts my gloomy voice. But Nemo said, I'm just pretending to feel things.
感情って何？心ってなんだよ。そんなもん誰にもわかんないって。ネモだってわかってないんだ。心ってのはまだ科学が解明してないこの世で最も複雑な謎なんだ。だいたいそれ言ったら俺だって感情があるふりをしてるただのロボットなのかもしれないじゃん。心がなんだとか生きるってなんだとか、そんなのこの世の誰にもわからない。それなら目の前のことを信じなよ。いいんだよ、疑わなくて。だから俺は信じる。今俺の目の前で俺を見上げてる君には、君の姿に負けないくらいすっげえ綺麗な心がある。俺はそう信じる。信じてる。だから君には心はあるんだ。それでいい。
Are you sure?
いいんだよ。技師からすれば目の前にある結果が全てだ。今目の前の君の言葉、君の行動、俺はそこから君の心を感じ取れる。だからそれが全てなんだよ。
I don't trust myself. But Father said to me long ago, it's still in my head. He said that I shouldn't love anyone, that the more I learned of love, the unhappier it would make me. Just saying these words makes me feel like heavy chains are tying down my body. That I'm a monster. Whispering this makes Impey feel so far away, even though he's right here next to me.
自分が信じられないなら無理に信じなくていいよ。
I wasn't expecting to hear that.
答えなんて無理に出さなくていい。自分が誰かなんてみんな一生かけて探すもんなんだから、答えなんかそう簡単に見つかるもんか。だから代わりに俺を信じて。
Don't believe yourself, then believe me. Cute. Impey gently brushes my cheek. His large, rough, warm hands melt my heart.
世界で一番君のそばにいる。世界で一番君のすべてを受け入れる。世界で一番君を愛する。
He's so cute.
この俺を信じて。
Just believe him. Listen to how earnest he is.
愛してるってそういうことだよ。
I'm unable to respond, and all I can do is stare at Impey.
これ一応プロポーズのつもり。
Oh, really? Are you? Proposing? My voice catches in my throat. Impey smiles and shrugs sheepishly.
ほら、俺が昔話をする代わりに君が俺の願いを聞いてくれるっていう話したでしょ。
You're gonna make her give an answer. That's so mean. Yes.
俺とずっと愛し合って生きてくれないかな。
Oh. I look at him in surprise, then I smile, thinking that maybe this is another joke. But he doesn't smile and just stares at me intently. It's a little sudden. I can't look him in the eyes and turn my face downwards.
明日は総力戦だから俺も戦わなきゃいけないし、気持ちを伝えるなら今しかないと思ってさ。
You know, war never promises anyone's survival. The best time is any to ask.
どうかな、俺のプロポーズ受けてくれる？
If I get a choice, it's obviously yes. But I'm pretty sure if you tell him no in his own route. Oh, it is no. So, surprisingly, the answer is no. That's funny. No.
ね、ダメかな。俺割と尽くすタイプだよ。浮気もしないし、料理だって結構自信あるし。
That's pretty lame if you have to explain yourself. I won't cheat. It's funny. I grimace as Impey starts talking at a rapid fire pace. It's not it. I didn't like the way you proposed. Impey looks at me puzzled. I don't want tomorrow to be the end. I don't want to not be able to see you anymore. I want to live with you and be with you always. Impey's eyes are still wide and he raises an arm to scratch his head. What's the matter?
ああ、いや。なんつうか、君の方がよっぽど男前だなって。
Funny. Manly? That doesn't sound like a compliment. Impey laughs and apologizes.
そうだよね。会えなくなるかもなんてないよね。そんな前提のプロポーズはしちゃいけないや。
Marry me because we may not be here tomorrow.
わかった。言葉はもういらない。
Impey gently takes my hand. His eyes shine in the moonlight as he looks at me intently. I couldn't have known what Impey is about to do, yet I somehow do. I feel like my body and soul are both yearning for it. I quietly close my eyes. Impey's lips touch mine. Contrary to his usual energetic personality, the kiss is delicate and gentle. Yes, that's right. Impey has always been watching over me with a smile. He extended his hand to me when I was in pain. He cheered me up. He understands me better than anyone else. He accepts me, and he loves me. The more I feel his warmth and his touch through his lips, the more I feel a peaceful feeling spreading within me. And I want to know more. I passionately feel that I want to know more about him, and my body grows hot. It's such a pretty picture. I wasn't done looking at that. Dang it. I was expecting it to just disappear. I can't get over how pretty these CGs are. They're just so well drawn out and colored, and they're just amazing. We eventually pull away from each other. Our eyes meet and we smile. I don't know how, but this simple act makes me feel like my entire existence has been affirmed.
あのさ、さっきの交換条件の話なんだけどさ、もう一つお願いがあるんだけど、いい？
Aw, her being has been confirmed. All the feelings that she felt. You know you have feelings now. You're a real person. What is it?
全部終わったらさ、俺と一緒に好きに言ってくれない？
There you go. That's a good thing to ask. I look at him and smile. Instead of a reply, I give him a kiss. Then, after a while, we're sitting next to one another, staring at the moon. It's all happening tomorrow. Impey nods in silence. I wonder if Victoria even has a chance against him.
はあ、賞賛があってもなくても戦わなくちゃいけないんだろうね。 彼女の場合。
I have two CGs to use. I'm probably going to use the kiss CG, obviously, because it when people see images like that, it just makes you want to click on them and it makes you want to know what is going on. That's what I've noticed anyway. That those types of CGs, the more interesting ones, people are more interested on looking at it instead of, you know, just a little kid on a train.
彼女が戦わないってことは、要するにイギリスが負けるってことだからね。意地でも引けない戦いなんだろうさ。
Do you think it'll be a tough battle?
まあね。それでもさ、絶対どうにかしてやろうとは思ってんだけど。こう、いいアイデアがね。
Oh, that's right. Impey had come out for a walk because he was feeling stuck. And then he didn't even want you to go with him, and then you go with him, and now you're probably he just proposed to you, kisses you, and be like, let's go to the moon together. Turned into quite the eventful night. If the gravity alleviator is at the core of the Nautilus, it would be convenient if it would just break down.
さすがにね。それはネモも気をつけてるだろうし。
You just steal it out of the ship, and then the ship goes crashing down, and then game over, right? You can't fight if you can't fly in the air.
それを期待して戦うのはちょっと。
What is it, Impy?
そうか。故障。
What about a breakdown?
ありがとう。もうほんと君天才。ノーチラスを止められるかもしれない。
Yeah, you just take away its power, right? Huh? You're thanking me?
そうだよ。君のおかげだ。一度サンちゃんの屋敷に戻ろう。手伝ってほしいことがあるんだ。
His mansion? Aren't you guys hiding from that? What? If he takes my hand and starts running it, I hastily follow along.
見ててくれよ。
If he turns back to me and smiles like a little boy.
君の愛するインピーさんが全部をまるっと見事に解決するところを。
He's so happy. Like, let's go. So let's see another short chapter. Fly Me to the Moon. I'm pretty sure that's an anime or a manga. It was a really cute one too. Anyways, that's the end of this chapter. I didn't think it would all take place in the rubble area, but I guess it did. I mean, I don't remember what else it could have been, so as soon as I saw the intro into this chapter, I'm like, oh, this is the one where he kisses her. But yeah, I knew it was going to be a sweet one. I knew he was going to talk about his father figure dying too. I forgot his father was even a vampire. There's another CG that sticks out at me too in the good ending. I think it's the good ending. But I'm excited to reread that as well. We have 2 more chapters left, and then we are done with Impey's Route. 2 more chapters and then the endings. So I'm excited to read those. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like down below. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.